Okay, welcome everyone. Today we're going to go over ChatGPT, the new-ish feature agent mode. It came out shortly this summer, I believe in August, maybe, end of August-ish. And I've been reading up a lot on it and I've been meaning to do it, but you know how summer goes. It just creeps away, and then I never had time to play with it. And I knew it needed to be trended with caution because the agent mode actually does work for you. It logs into things, it makes clicks, it can do all sorts of things. So I've only really played around with one use case. I'll be honest, my first impressions of it were not good, like great. However, I can see it being something really helpful as they progress on it and it gets better. As you guys know, if you've been using AI over the last 2 years, it's incredible the changes since ChatGPT launched and where it's got to now. So I would imagine, in 6 months' time, this agent mode will be incredible. But as for today, it's just, in my opinion, something to keep your eye on. Know it's there. Maybe it could do something cool and you can share it with us if you decide to use it. So what is the agent mode? It actually first came out as the operator mode. And the operator mode, when it first got tested, was to be used for things like ordering groceries or, planning a trip, and it would actually book your flights and your hotels for you. Like, truly is almost another person. It logs into your website and clicks around and does the research, and you can actually watch it think as it's performing its tasks, make mistakes and correct them. And so it's almost like watching another person in your computer take over. It's pretty cool. A little scary, but here we are. Okay, so how to use it. You log into your to your ChatGPT, and I believe you have to have the paid versions because it works on tokens as well. So if you were part of our paid training, we talked about how some of these modes cost more than others to use. So you only get so many prompts and so many times to use them. So that's why this one, because it's working a little bit harder, I believe you have to be in the paid plan, but correct me if I'm wrong. So all you have to do is go into this plus side and you have to click on this agent mode. And you can see the agent mode can use sources. It could search the web, which is always turned on and recommended because there's obviously lots of information on the internet. You can connect it to your Canva, to your Gmail, all sorts of other things here. You can see there's a lot more connectors. They've recently upgraded this as well. So you can get it connected to multiple sources now so that, maybe you wanted to look through your files or something. The agent could actually do that as well. But again, always tread with caution because this is, you want to stay compliant as a broker or realtor as well, right? So you turn the agent mode on and you simply describe what you want it to do. So if it's not turned on, you can see I deleted it here, and you ask it to do something, the agent mode will not work. It'll work just as normal ChatGPT. So I recommend you get your idea in place. So what I used it for last week was to do research on my Facebook. So I kind of just talk to it as per normal, and I'll use this voice dictation mode here just to speed things up. And then basically I gave it a prompt. Okay, so I want the agent mode to go into my Facebook and go through a list of my contacts and research those who've recently had posts so that I could see if they have any big life changes, like they're thinking of selling their home or just got listed. Maybe they had a baby, got engaged, because those are all signs that, they may be needing a home in the future, first home, maybe they're upgrading homes, things like that. So if you can compile a list in Google table format, and then we'll go from there. So of course I played around with it a lot more and the other one, but that's just to show I love the dictate mode because it's just so much quicker. Okay, so I typically, before I turn the agent mode on or any mode on, I usually just ask it, do you understand? Oh, sorry, I'm in French mode here. Is there any way to make this prompt better? So I always do that because one, I find like as you use the tool, you kind of get lazy with your prompts, right? So it's good to see if there's any recommendation and if they're going to recommend anything. So improve prompt draft. So now we want it to go through. I noticed I had to play with this a lot in the last one, which I've got here. I saved the chat so I can show you guys, but just showing you how my train of thought works. And so it's improved draft, why this version is better. That's great. So you would copy paste this, put it into your little chat section here. And now you have to make sure you turn on agent mode. So then when you hit go, now you'll notice that the agent is going to think a little bit longer. So we can kind of wait for this. It is going to ask me at one point to log in, which is what I wanted to show you guys. So we'll see here if it's going to be fast or slow. This is a more in-depth model, so you'll notice the thinking and the process actually does take quite a bit of time. And honestly, that's why I find right now I'm not that impressed with it, but I do think it'll get better with time. So you can see it's thinking, it's analyzing. It thought for 30 seconds, and now we'll see what it comes up with. While it's thinking, we'll just move this over. We'll go back to my first one. So you'll see I started kind of the exact same way. I just asked it, how do I get ChatGPT agent to do anything? Because of course you're going to ask ChatGPT how to use things. We talked about different ways. And I said, well, I actually wanted you. At first it was like, oh, it can't do what you're asking it to do. And I was like, I knew it could. I knew the agent mode could. So sometimes you do have to correct ChatGPT. It's not often that it's wrong, but sometimes it will tell you. So as you can see, it told me that it wouldn't be able to do that. And I said, yes, it can. The new agent mode can. I said, oh yeah, you're actually right. So then it talked about that. So I continued to learn about how it would work. And then we made a sample of what the workflow would be, because I wanted it to be compliant. I wanted it to log in, make that list that we were talking about so that I can make outreach to those contacts on my Facebook list and congratulate them on, you know, having a new baby. If you guys are ever thinking of upsizing your home, I'd be happy to help you with your mortgage. So that way it's looking for those major life events, but I didn't want it to actually send the message, which it actually can. That's a little bit scary. However, I wasn't sure how it was going to work. So I didn't want it to just start sending messages to my clients, right? Or to my Facebook friends. So I kind of told it what I wanted to do, look for major life events like we just talked about now. I said, then it logged in, and then you can see here, it said you took control. And I just said, is there a more efficient way to do this? Because you'll see that it took forever. I watched it make a bunch of mistakes. Can we make a new list and log back into Facebook? I want you guys to see how it actually clicks through.
Hey, Sarah.
Yeah.
So you're giving it access. It's connected to your Facebook already, or you're doing it after, like it's telling you to log on, or you have to give it the connection or the access already?
Yeah, so when you first select the agent mode, it won't have access to your Facebook. That's actually not one of the connectors in here. Facebook's not in there. So you'll see here, it's setting up its desktop. It's like, it almost feels like a different person, right? And a screen will pop up where it's almost, I'll check the log, there you go. So now it's like, you can watch this person. I'll call it a he. He's in my Facebook right now. But the first time we did this, it actually asked me to log in. So I had to go in this share screen, and you can actually click and stuff in here as well. You can see it's live, so when it first logged in, it tried to log in and it said, oh, I actually don't have your password. Can you do it? So it gave me control. And then it went back once I logged in and started doing its work. That I do like this here, sensitive data is something not right. You can stop the agent at any time. So if you're like, hey, what you're doing is not right, but you can see here, I probably watched it for about an hour, watching it to just do its work. But you can see here, we accidentally clicked pages instead of post. I find it has a really hard time being efficient. It clicks in a lot of the wrong spots. Eventually it gets the right thing. So you can see now they're in people, but technically what he's supposed to be doing is being in all and actually looking through the post to see what people are talking about, filter that it's my friends only because I don't want to see all of Facebook's posts about babies, but and then go through the people, make a filter, and then make a list. So as you watch it, I really enjoyed watching to see what the agent was actually doing, where it went wrong. This is saying the search results are not updating because the search bar still shows baby. They just changed it to engaged. So you can really watch, it's almost like an assistant, watch what they're doing, right? Eventually, once it gets efficient or you trust what it's doing, you can see that, pulled up an old picture of mine in 2020 getting engaged. That's funny. And then you can trust it to actually make those lists and those kind of things that you want, right? But right now, like this alone, to get 5 people on this list took over an hour. And I thought, well, it's more efficient for just somebody else to be doing that, right? So as it goes, it continues going through my Facebook. It's going through and looking for baby, engaged, house for sale, that kind of stuff. And then I wanted it to create this spreadsheet. And in this spreadsheet, my goal, like as a broker, would be, okay, I wanted the first name, I wanted the last name. I didn't want the agent to send the message to them. So I said, that's why I wanted it in this table, but it actually could go to Sarah and actually congratulate her, right? So it actually could send messages if you allowed it to. It'll do whatever you tell it to a certain point, I think. But I wanted it in a spreadsheet. So my thoughts were, I'll click on the profile link and I'll go send the message myself. And I asked it to make 3 follow-up messages too. So basically it compiled a list of people, like what was the trigger? This person had a baby, this person's getting married, this person, it was a wedding. So then that way I could go into my own Facebook and say, congrats, if you're looking to buy a home now that you're engaged or whatever, I'd be happy to help. So it was compiling essentially a leads list for me out of my own Facebook contacts was the goal. But again, I didn't find it overly efficient, but you can see it worked. It created the spreadsheet itself. It started updating it itself. We went back and forth because I was like, well, that one there is from 2023. Like I only want messages from 2025. I'm not going to congratulate somebody on their baby from 3 years ago, right? So then it logged back in and created a new list and just keeps updating from there, right? So you can see here it worked for 3 minutes. If you close your desktop at any time, it actually just shuts down. So I think that's a safety kind of trigger on ChatGPT side. It doesn't want to work while you're not really here to watch it. So again, I still do think there's lots of room for improvement. I think there's lots of cool use cases. Again, you can go into ChatGPT and ask it different use cases for a mortgage broker. Be compliant. I don't know that I would let the agent mode like go through your Google folders and clients docs and stuff like that. But, lead list compiling, doing research on Google for local financial planners in your area or things like that, I think would be a pretty cool use case because it doesn't need to log into anything to access Google, right? So you can have it create things. I think compiling a leads list is where I would focus now. And then as it gets smarter, then I think it would be cool for it to take over tasks. Like in my brain, I was like, it could probably do Canva posts and it could probably schedule content. It could probably log into the CRM and do some work for you as well. However, in my brain, I thought that the best way, and I asked our IT guy as well, what his thoughts were about agent mode. And we were saying that the best case scenario would be to create another email in your Google. So I created one called agent@mybrokerpro.ca so that if I needed it to log into something, I could have like a restricted, setting. So if I wanted it to log into My Broker Pro, for example, it would log into its own account where I have restricted settings and not have access to everything. Because if I have it logged into my account, now all of a sudden it has like admin access where if you make it its own account, it can have restricted. So I don't know if any of that makes sense, but that's kind of my thoughts, how it works. You guys saw like how it's clicking and thinking and doing things itself. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I'll let you guys take the floor. What do you think?
What's the difference between this and like the custom GPT? Like what's one that this thing can do over the other? Because the other one you're giving instructions as well, right?
Yeah, so I would say the custom GPT, you're a use case for that, that I currently do is I've trained it to read through my meeting transcripts. Let's say like today, I upload the transcript and it summarizes all my tasks, timestamps, and then I share it with my team, right? So it's already trained. By the time I drop my transcript, I don't have to give it any context. It already knows what to do. But this one, the difference is it actually logs in to things, clicks around, and creates things for you, whereas the other one is very internal to ChatGPT, right? Mhm.
Okay,
Does
thanks.
that kind of make sense?
Yeah. I thought the custom GPT, you can connect it, like let's say if you connect it to your email, it can do things as well through the email, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I did that with my email, like as like a third party connector, but you're still always telling it what to do, right? So I would say like go through my emails and I want you to draft something. I want you to. So then it would go and do it and then come back. I guess it was more like back and forth than this would be. Whereas
it's just more of like
one,
a one-time thing. The custom GPT, you're kind of training it to do a specific task. And this one, it's like a one-time do this right now. And because
yeah.
you can't save this agent, can you? That it's like you're gonna
No, not that I know of. Like I saved the thread itself, like so you can see that this one was down here getting ChatGPT to work. So if it was working for you, I guess the best thing to do would be to drag it into one of your folders so that you know where it is. You can use it again in the future, and it would always remember. It has memory, right? So it would always go back and continue to learn. So you shouldn't, in theory, have to continue to tell it not to look to 2020 and always stay in 2025 if you're in the same chat. But there's no, I kind of see what you're saying. Like it's not as smart as the custom GPT where you're giving it like instructions and links to look at and all sorts of things. So maybe that'll come in the future, which would be pretty cool. So you could have a Facebook agent,
Okay.
which would be cool. But I wouldn't ignore it because like AI, everything's moving so fast. I do think that in a few months' time, this will be really cool. I think it's just really new. Like I've heard some people, Jesse, one of our clients, he's been trying to use it to order groceries. And he said even that is like painful to watch it do. You're like, I may as well just order them myself, right? So but I would imagine with feedback, they'll either make it way better or they'll eliminate it like they've done with some of the models. But for now, it's pretty cool to see where it's going. I've heard some of the other, like Perplexity has a version of this as well that I heard is a little bit better. So yeah, we'll see what comes next. Any other questions? Hmm. You guys are too easy. Any other use cases you can see it for?
Can we have it to go through like our Google Drive? Let's say I wanted to go through my clients list and find, opportunities, people with certain interest rates. It can also do that.
I think so, yeah. And I haven't tested it, of course. I would test it and I would watch it like a hawk while it's performing its work, but it probably would function better because you can actually link your Google Drive, right? So you can see here the agent mode's on, and if you connected your Gmail or, your Google Drive, it might work a bit better than that. So yeah, I would definitely, if you decide to try it out, let me know. Like for a realtor, it'd be brilliant for them to go through all their contracts because a lot of them don't keep that data, right? So to make a spreadsheet of names and closing dates and interest rates, like you said, and all sorts of stuff would be awesome. But yeah, if you decide to try it, Natalia, let me know.
You wouldn't know if Google has like how sometimes you give access to an assistant to your account, like how my Facebook business page, for instance, you give access and you get limited access. Like Google doesn't have anything like that, right? Like you kind of restrict their access to whatever, just because I guess it's personal. It's a personal account, so it probably doesn't have that capability.
I mean, if you have Google like Business Suite, which is what we have, again, if you purchased another email, which is what I did, I purchased like an agent email, so it's going to cost me the $12 or $15 a month. Then you could restrict that email's access in your Google Drive, right? It's almost like sharing that document with the team. When you go to share it, it says, are you going to share it with your team? Are you sharing this link with anybody? Is it view only? Is it edit like only, like if they get different access? So in that case, you know, that's not a bad idea. It would probably wouldn't have access to much. So it might be kind of cumbersome because it would constantly be like, Natalia, can you give me access to this document? And you'd be like just doing the work for it basically. But that's probably less risk than giving it access to your email login, right? Because to give access to your Drive, you'd have to give it your main email and your main password, which, yeah, it really depends. It says right now it's safe, but you always have to kind of like do a little gut check. I'm like, would I just give anybody my Google password? Probably not. But would I get the agent email and then pretend it's an actual person and give it access? To me, that makes a bit more sense. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Cool. I like that use case though. And I think like right now they're saying it can connect to Canva, but it can't do work for you in Canva. I think Canva itself, the company, is not allowing it. So apparently that might come soon. So I think with time, as one, people adopt this process of an AI agent actually doing work for you, that more companies may come on board and allow it access as well. But it really depends. Like the AI world's kind of strange right now. I follow it closely, obviously. And recently, YouTube said no more AI. They said authentic content only. And if it's AI, the algorithm's not gonna like it. There's a button now that says it's AI generated. So I feel like some companies are going one way, like AI everything, and others are going, no, we want authenticity. So it's kind of a weird time, isn't it? But exciting regardless. Anything else, friends? Okay, silence is key then. We'll let you guys get back to your day. And then next week, I don't have a topic yet, but I'll let you guys know in advance. And hopefully we see you again next week.